In this edition, Oscar-winning director Clint Eastwood talks about creating his latest film, Letters from Iwo Jima, with digital content producer and Millimeter senior editor Michael Goldman. Read the companion article in the December issue of Millimeter magazine or online at digitalcontentproducer.com.
It kind of came about as a curiosity when we were preparing Flags of Our Fathers. We kept going over and over the story points and how the defense of the island worked in our story, and so I finally got interested. So I called a friend in Japan. And I said, is there any books on this General Kuribayashi who defended the island? And he said, well, there really isn't anything, and there's nothing in English. But he found a little book. It was about some letters that he had written at home, and when he was in the United States back in 1928, 29, 30. And he traveled extensively here, and then was an envoy in Canada for a while as well. And so I kind of wanted to find out about him. And he was kind of in that school of Yamamoto, who didn't believe that Japan should be at war with the United States. They felt that the United States was too big an industrial complex, and it would be an overwhelming project. So he was against that, plus the fact he had studied English at Harvard and had a lot of friends here in the States, and had generally had no animosity particularly. But then how he got back, and then how he gets sent to this island, I guess, and how he decides to handle it all. And so as it just started unraveling, I became very curious about it. So I asked Paul Haggis, I said, I don't have any dough, but I've got this crazy idea. And I said, I can't pay you what you're getting now, but I said, do you have any students or anybody you could mentor along that might be interested in doing this, and researching this further? So he did. He got this Iris Yamashita, and she is a Japanese-American gal, but who's written a few scripts. I don't think she'd sold anything, but she'd written a few. And so I got her to do the research. And she came up with this idea of seeing this general through the eyes of a young conscriptee. And so we go into the island and we see the whole war unfold and see what their side was like, because they, much like our side, were all young people for the most part, 16, 17, 18 years old, who were conscripted out there, and plus some older people too. I mean, they had people of all ages, but the life they had to lead was very, very miserable. They were stuck on this island, and there were no reinforcements or nothing. They had nothing, no water except rainwater. You captured rainwater. You couldn't. There's no wells or anything, and so that one thing. And I've even heard that from American vets. They said the one advantage we had is we had plenty of water, and everybody left the boat with water. If they didn't, but the Japanese had Zippo, so they were starved, pretty well starved out along the way, but they did put up a ferocious battle. And the ingenious part of digging into the ground and tunneling and connecting pillboxes and machine gun nests and connecting parts of the island so people could escape as well. They could go up and fight and then go back down and go through tunnels and come up somewhere else. So it became kind of a fascinating deal. So I said, well, go ahead and write a script. So I forgot about it, went ahead and was preparing Flags, and then one day she came over and she had the script. It was really quite good, I thought. And I said, great, well, we'll just leave it at that right now because I'm doing this other picture. But I had enough stuff in the script that I could, while I was going to Iceland or to Iwo or wherever, I could pick up things that would work for both films. And so I did. While we were in Iceland, I picked up some shots that I thought would not be used in Flags, but would be used in Letters from Iwo Jima. And then when I went to Iwo Jima at the very end, the last of shooting of that film, we picked up some stuff that could be used in flags, and some stuff that is, and quite a bit of stuff that's used in letters from Iwo Jima. So that's kind of how it all came about. It's and everybody kept saying, "Well, why are you doing that?" I said, "Well, it just seemed like the thing to do. It seems like you're in the mode. Why not do that?"
Was there any talk at the time, okay, well, let's do this, Matrix style, Lord of the Rings, 2 movies at once, or was it always planned to be separate, creatures, even though you did pick up material for both along the way?
What I did is when I finished Flags, I finished it, and then I started editing, and then after the editing process was quite a ways along, and we had pretty well had the film roughed in, and you start depending on having sound effects being built and other elements that take some time off. I said, during that time off, that hiatus, I'd go make the other picture, which is what we did. And we went and shot letters, and then came back. Then after I finished the shooting of that, I came back to the 2 Flags of Our Fathers, worked on that, and got it finished, and then went over to Japan and picked up a couple final shots that would go to it, and then picked up all the letters stuff, and they came back, and when Flags was finished and we were waiting for scoring and dubbing and all that stuff, I went back and started working and cutting the other one. So it's just kind of little hiatus periods. You'd go back and work on the one.
Digital Content Producer Podcast.